just suddenly remembering that in my very second podcast, it wasn't my first podcast, was it? It was 13th Depository. It started like the week before Never Show the Monster. In the first episode we recorded, we got too drunk because they aired 3 episodes that night.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I was editing in the wee hours of the morning, I listened to myself commit to the bit of calling Cabe baby girl 1,000 times. So I had to cut a lot of that from the first episode.
But in context, like he wasn't minding being called baby girl, was he?
He honestly didn't even notice when I brought it up the next morning. He was like, no memory of
That's very him. That's very
but
him.
he
Would not notice.
Very him. I will say that at work, I call everybody girl with a G, with a U. Obviously with a G.
Sure.
And that's probably problematic. Fortunately, I feel confident that I'm able to read the room well enough that it hasn't hurt anybody's feelings. Or if it did hurt their feelings, I sort of meant it because they were doing it to me. You know?
Yeah. And we're always, I think it's just a function of human interaction that you kind of code switch that way. Like you talk to certain people certain ways, and you know not to talk to other people other ways. And if somebody gives you positive, yeah, right. Well, sure, absolutely. But
the thing I want to say about Cabe is he is the only male coworker I worked with who didn't even comment on it. Like usually with my male coworkers, I would be like, "Hey, girl," and they'd be like, "Did you just call me girl? All right, girl." But it like took them a minute to adjust to it. But the first time I said it to Cabe, he just looked over and said, "Girl." It's like, yay!
See, he gets it.
He gets it.
You know what else he gets?
Crafts.
Yeah, probably crafts. He probably gets some crafts. I think was he crafting beer? Was that a thing he was doing?
Oh my God. He made a White Claw.
Great. He's crafting.
Oh, it was horrible.
Some sort of beige talon.
It was dreadful. But yeah, craft White Claw.
Yeah. Listeners, ahoy! This is Debut Buddies. It's a fortnightly podcast about firsts. My name is Nate, and I'm one of the buddies.
My name is Kelly. I'm an additional buddy.
I'm Chelsea. I'm the other buddy.
And boy, howdy, listeners. We're going to talk about the first craft. And as I said, I think at the end of a previous show, not the first mac and cheese. Although maybe, given the way that my pot looks, it would have been a better idea to make macaroni and cheese.
No, I like it.
I like your pot.
It's something. It's really, listeners, this will be posted to Instagram, on the socials. We'll try to share it with you. If nothing else, you're not missing a lot. It's a lot of fun. But
I made a couple things. Would you
made
like
a couple
to see
things?
I made one.
amazing.
I made a couple things.
Yeah, because there are a couple of things that can be considered the first craft. Kelly, what'd you make?
I'm worried we're going to show the same thing.
Huh. I guess we'll
Did you
find
both
out.
make cat's eyes with tongue depressors and yarn?
No. I wanted to make a mouse sculpture, but I knew that I would make something horrible and it would haunt my nightmares. So instead, here's the first thing. He's a little ghost.
It's a fun little
He's
ghost.
just a little ghost.
Cute.
And then the second thing. Do you recognize
Call
it?
back to our last episode?
It is the Delia Dietz sculpture from the original Beetlejuice. The one that kind of looks like a lizard or maybe like a child's illustration of a tree that is coming to life and bending in on us.
Yeah, I thought about making it the other way. See, I didn't paint the back. I thought about making it this way when it like flips over and has a tail and the base is its head. But I was worried that I wouldn't be able to support it while it dried. No. I'm not afraid of a deep cut.
No, it looks amazing. Both of those look amazing.
Thanks.
I like that the ghost has like vague ravioli energy too.
I didn't bother like trimming the edges or anything. So
no, he looks cozy. He looks like
and you can see where he rested on himself while drying and he just deflated.
Chelsea, what did you make?
I made a basket.
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
Well, it's because you said that it could be a basket, and then I was like, "Well, if you're making a pot, I'll make a basket." So I made a basket.
Dope.
That's really
I know,
good.
thanks.
I think you're the only one of us who did a good job.
Listeners, you have to understand. Chelsea wove a basket that looks like it would sell for, I would guess, $400 at Pottery Barn. Like
$2.
I'd spend $10.
I can put my tiny can in it.
Oh my god, it's a koozie.
It's perfect. I'm sorry, everyone. This is visuals.
No, but listeners, it's amazing.
It is perfect for a mini can, not
Check
a normal
the social
size
media.
can, just mini can.
So the lower section of this basket is very intricately woven, kind of a in-out sort of situation.
Just normally woven. Yeah,
just
exactly.
regular woven, plain weave.
But then there's like a dope rim, and the bottom's got like a fun
the rim was
star
a
overlap
bitch.
thing.
The rim was the worst part.
Friggin'
And like
worth it.
Ryan had to leave the room because I got so angry.
That's like when I used to be a baker, people would be like, "Oh, I can tell it was made with love," and I'd be like, "No, it was made with fury."
Yeah, yeah, you're tasting hate, my friend. Enjoy.
That's rage, my good dude.
Oh man, that is wow.
Yeah, it's a little basket.
Chelsea, wow.
That looks so good.
I am,
Thank you.
like, okay, listeners, for context, the pot I made.
I mean, your pot is very nice.
It
Your
looks
pot is
something
nice.
like the Rook playing piece on
That's
the
what I was gonna say.
I was trying to go for like a modern tapering pot with an open, like a blooming sort of mouth, and it's doing that. It's doing it inconsistently. There's
That's fine.
there's some things
Are you
going
gonna use
on
it
here.
for a vase?
Yeah, that's perfect vase.
If it'll hold water, I don't know if this like air dry clay will hold water or
That's
if
a
it will
good
just
point.
slowly.
I bet there's
wet
like a
itself
seal.
again.
You could put something in there. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. Yeah, I could just put
Switch
like
it around.
just jam like a little bag in there or something or anyway.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's true.
smart.
Or like
That's a good
dried
one.
flowers. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Oh,
a think
we're doing
tank.
it.
We're a
We're
think
doing
tank.
I think that could sell for $400 as well.
There we go.
If you put the flour in it,
Oh,
the dried
yeah.
flour.
Yeah,
Okay.
dude.
Put it in not a pure one. What's a really fancy one? Like super fancy.
like a
Is
like
that
a
a thing?
CB2.
Yeah,
like
that's the one
like
I'm
a-
thinking of.
Okay.
Just have that like on a beautiful
Like a
oak
West Elm
dresser or something.
You've got a decorative object on your
It'd
hands.
be perfect. And then we'll put this on the other side. It is crooked. I don't know if you guys can tell.
I like
leaning.
that.
It's a leaning.
The crookedness
basket.
you have looks better than the crookedness that I have, where there are parts of this that have Stay Puft Marshmallow Man / poop energy that's going on. And that's fine.
I don't see poop. So this
Not
is
yet.
specifically why I was like, I'm gonna copy something that's already ugly, so that
You did a great job.
And it's
I don't
genius
have to
because
do
you were like,
something.
oh yeah, I'm gonna make a thing that you made an homage.
Yep.
It was immediately
And in an homage,
recognizable.
you can only fail if you don't know what it is. And to Chelsea's point, like we both knew immediately, like, oh shit, you made the thing.
Beetlejuice.
Ah, he's here again.
No, he's on the set of his new movie. I've already forgotten the name of it.
Threedlejuice.
Yep, that's
sequel.
it. That's the one.
It's in the spirit of 5 cream and 6 cream and the never to be released 7 cream.
No, it's happening.
Well, it's going to be wrong side of history.
Yeah, that's probably true.
They creamed their own understanding of reality by dying on a weird hill. Look, we're not here to talk about 7 cream, though.
Go follow me and Chelsea on Never Show the Monster for all of our various cream-related takes.
Yeah.
They got the creamiest takes over there.
Our hottest, creamiest takes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God.
And who doesn't love hot cream? Isn't that the
I'm gonna
best way to
go
be served
throw
cream? Is
up, you
just
guys.
hot.
I'm going to
Burbling.
need you to send me this
Slowly-
audio so I
slowly
can make
coddling.
a trailer.
Oh God.
Oh man. So let's talk about these first crafts. Pottery is perhaps the oldest human invention ever.
Yeah.
Other than mouse. Mouse being the most old human invention.
He is definitely a Paleolithic beast.
We're in kitty country, listeners. Welcome to kitty country. Not to be confused with the MouthGarf report.
Different cat.
Different cat, same day. Pottery originates before the Neolithic period, with ceramic objects that include the Grafetian culture Venus of Dolny Vestinice figurine that was discovered in the Czech Republic back in, let's say, 29,000 BC. What?
Mm-hmm.
What? It's real old.
It's so old. And I know that this is our first bullet point, but I already have 2 observations. So one.
Yeah.
Linen making what predates that.
Linen making predates 29,000 BC?
Yeah, 30,000 BC.
It makes sense.
Oh, maybe that's not quite right. It was essentially contemporaneous with pottery.
Is the thing, is that we're going to get into how there's definitely some... Because look, people need to carry water, and they also need to clothe themselves.
Yeah. And the thing about prehistory is it was prehistory.
Not a lot of records.
Yeah. I mean, all of this could have happened at the same time. We don't know.
The oldest potteries, I guess is the plural, are of like cultural significance rather than utility.
Yeah.
That was very cool.
That is...
Oh, she got...
That is a full lady.
Yeah.
What's the ceramic lady?
Bazungas is the word that comes to mind.
Yeah. It's great. A 4.4-inch tall statuette.
Yeah.
So there's like
that.
2 inches of bazongas on that 4-inch tall statuette. It's something. But your early pottery is largely artifacts, religious artifacts, things like that. You also have pottery vessels from Jiangxi, China from 18,000 BC. You've got...
And so that's crazy. That's like, I can't do math very fast.
That's
many thousands of
7,000 years later. Where you're like, oh, there's pots here. But the thing is, they're all made of stone and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So these things smash easily. They get covered by stuff. It turns out places flood and everything gets buried, and we may never find it again.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, are these molded pots or are they like carved from stone?
They are supposed to be molded pots, but they're all going to be kind of the earthenware style, so they don't take a lot of heat.
Okay.
To deal with. Now, granted, still around 600 degrees Celsius, but that's much cooler than your ceramics and your stoneware and your porcelain that happen later. So
earthenware, mud. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, we're talking about mud. We're talking about like just anything that you can throw in like a pit fire. Yeah. So my pot initially used the coil pottery style that I would have learned because growing up in Colorado, we did our pottery unit on like the Anasazi indigenous groups and how they would do coil pottery, and it would be fired black because they would cover it with animal waste. Buffalo chips specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, was that protective in some way? I'm trying to think like
it's because it burns fire. It burns hot and long, right? So you have like
the poop
very
is like coal. That's what you're saying. It's like
exactly. It's dried out. It's very dense, and so it burns for a long time at a consistent temperature.
This is like manure leads to explosives,
right?
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
Which leads to Dave Matthews Band in Chicago in 1998.
We're back.
Yeah.
Yep.
According to ASTM International, pottery is, quote, all fired ceramic wares that contain clay when formed, except for technical, structural, and refractory products. I didn't look deeper into that.
Wait, will you say it again?
Okay.
All ceramic wares that contain clay when formed, except technical, structural, and refractory products.
All what products? It's just that second word that I missed both times.
Fired ceramic wares? Technical?
No, I think it was fired.
Like
no, I heard the second half I got. Okay, it was just that first half of the sentence.
Yeah. So so the definition we're holding is pottery has to be in the sense that we would get it from, say, Ghost, right? Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore are making pottery on a potting wheel that will be fired in a kiln, or it will be somehow baked. If it is fired in a kiln, you're talking stoneware at very least, though it could be porcelain. Porcelain takes the most heat, up to 14,000 Celsius, or 1,400 Celsius. Sorry, 14,000 would be like the sun. 1,400 Celsius, which is about 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit.
Dang,
that's hot.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to hang out in there with the pot and watch it bake.
Isn't there another first in this? Because isn't the first wheel also created to be a pottery wheel?
What? Is that true?
I did not see that,
yeah,
but I love that.
It was found in Mesopotamia, and the Sumerians used it to...
What? For pottery?
Yeah, for pottery.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
not at all what I would have expected.
Yeah.
I will say that during the process of making my hideous abomination, I did, like, it started as a coil pot. Yeah. But as you can see, I did definitely like wet my hands and smooth it. But because I didn't have a potting wheel, I had to kind of like rotate around it manually. And this boy's too heavy. So I had put like several sheets of wax paper down on the countertop to try to make it movable. It did not. It did not do that. It just tore the wax paper. So I ended up rotating around it myself. But yeah, a potting wheel would have been really nice. It would probably.
You don't have like a cake stand, like a cake decorating stand, lying around.
I wish I had anything that would have been useful for this other than dream and 2.5 hours.
Tenacity.
I wonder if there were like artisans that were really good at it, but their hands were just really quick and they were just like...
They've got to be, right? Because not everybody could afford a pottery wheel. Like it would still be
well,
something.
Well, they hadn't invented it.
True. Well, then before they're like, what do we do with this one wheel we've made? I guess we could do pottery with it. And then they're like, no, let's make another wheel, and then we can drive it around.
Do you think that they had like your pottery apprentice would just hold it and spin? Well,
oh my god, yeah.
They would get so dizzy. Oh my god.
I love
then you just spin the other way.
History was in the way that now you can go to an event space and they'll have like the rotating turntable so that you can do an iPhone video where you're spinning around. If it was just that, but with a person turning your thing for you.
Yeah.
It seems entirely plausible.
Oh god.
If I know the way labor has been practiced throughout history, I would assume that someone was forced to rotate while another person stood still and acted important.
I mean, more realistically, it would be the second person spinning like a platter with the thing on it.
Yeah,
like not rotating their whole body.
That makes sense.
Right?
No, yeah.
Well, you gotta act out. You learn as you go, man.
That's true.
Might start with the spin.
It's called evolution. Look it up.
So with porcelain has the highest temperature. It's also kind of the fanciest, right? Like porcelain stuff we consider to be more delicate, more refined. Usually it's worth more money, right? If you have like porcelain dishware or something, or porcelain dolls. No, for sure. I mean, we all think about the joyous alabaster skin gazing at you in the distance.
I have like 10 of them. I'll send them to you guys.
Great, good.
Christmas is coming up.
Oh, hooray.
So when I was a kid, I don't know how much of Fantasy Island either of you watched, like the original show. But
I know of it though.
So it was syndicated when I was a kid, and I remember getting up, like I couldn't sleep one morning, so I went out in the living room and just put the TV on and laid down on the couch. And so at like 5 a.m, Fantasy Island comes on, and it is an episode where like a woman is wishing to have kind of a cool experience with all of the toys that she didn't have when she was a kid or whatever, right? And in true Fantasy Island fashion, it's like, hey, your wish will backfire on you. So there was just like the entire episode is just porcelain dolls becoming more and more sinister and advancing on her in a way that you can only do in like the early to mid 80s. So it wasn't like there was even an uncanny valley energy. It was just like the dolls kept moving closer and kept like making whatever expressions they could make, but worse. And it was, it's still like, obviously I remember this thing that happened when I was maybe 7 years old, and it's still just burrowed into my brain.
Was it Puppet Mastery, but with porcelain dolls?
Yeah, kind of like, so on Fantasy Island, it's always that Mr. Rourke, played by Ricardo Montalban, is always like teaching people a lesson. So you come to Fantasy Island to have your fantasy fulfilled, but it almost always comes with a monkey's paw caveat, which is like,
so he's a genie?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. You know, he's like, here, have this thing you want, but also it's not going to work the way you expect because you need to learn something before you leave Fantasy Island, because the true fantasy is putting people in their place.
Growth.
Right.
They did just release a horror Fantasy Island horror movie like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, then we'll have to do an episode, and then it'll be all three of us. We'll do that.
We'll have you on Never Show the Monster.
Yeah.
We could do like the first Fantasy Island episode of the original series.
Ooh, fun.
And then we could talk about the movie. And we could
fun.
have a little crossover pod.
Yeah, I would like that.
As if every single one isn't, to an extent, a crossover.
Trying to crossover.
Yeah.
we're like John Edward here. We're crossing over so much.
Thank you. So every time I make a John Edward reference, crossing over with John Edward, people are like, the politician? And I'm like, no, the weird one.
That's John Edwards.
Differently weird one.
Yeah. John Edward was a creepy, weird guy with a big face, but he was always like, is there anybody here who's lost a family member?
Someone.
Yeah. I'm thinking with the letter L?
A. Yeah, of course. It's a vowel. Got it.
Does anybody here know someone who likes baseball? Oh, I'm getting a feeling. I love it. Cold reading is fun.
Cold reading.
So yeah, porcelain is unique because it's extremely tough and it's strong tensile wise, but there's also the translucence because you get that like nice clear sort of finish on it, as well as like you can get a nice clear white, but you also get a good coating. So porcelain was first made in China. Yeah.
Does the strength come from the high temperatures? I only have a loose understanding of how this works.
Yeah. So basically that's the thing, is that you have other materials that are in the kiln. So there's something called like kaolin, which is a silicate mineral. So you're using, I think, harder rock, and because you can heat it more, you're able to soften that rock enough to make it pliable, and then bake it back into place. So China's the first place where porcelain is made during the Tang Dynasty.
And porcelain is China? That's
like
when we say
that's
where
we
China
get
cabinet, it's porcelain. Okay.
Yeah, we're talking. Yeah, that's just a little way that we boil an entire culture down to one of its exports.
I mean, we've done worse. You know?
Absolutely. Because when people say America, it usually means extrajudicial murdering of civilians,
school shootings,
for the purpose of things. It's great. Perfect place, perfect country.
We're gonna say we love it, and then you stuffed yourself. We don't love it, but we're here. So.
And we're currently like, we have no idea how the election went, so don't ask us. We can't tell you.
Oh my God, it's in the past. Oh no.
Yeah. But it's 2 weeks from right now, listeners. So
I know.
I hope this brings you some form of something, one way or the other.
Oh, I'm going to talk about this during the MouthGarf report.
Yes.
Oh no.
Okay. Look, listeners, you got to hang around with the MouthGarf report, otherwise you're going to miss this. I got about 2 hours more of pot talk before we get there, but we're going to get there.
Well, and then I've got one on linen, so
got a little bit on basket. So
perfect.
All right, great. So it takes so they get the translucency and whiteness of porcelain, as we might identify it now, during the Tang Dynasty, which would have been 618 to 906 AD. Then we get to the current modern level where it's like real clear, real white. That's in the 14th century. And it starts getting perfected in Korea and Japan at the end of the 16th century. And then it's just like not made outside of East Asia until the 18th century. So it explains why we refer to it as China, why it is such a precious thing, because it was something that you could not have. Like if you were a colonizer from the West, it meant you had connections in far away places that were very hard to get to.
Yeah, I mean, at that time, it was just thought of as like a magical place over the sea. Like it was whimsical. It wasn't. It was like it was like Fantasy Island, Japan.
It was, and it is in fact an island.
That's
where many fantasies occur.
You see what I did?
I do. You get a point already. I see what you did.
Coming for you. I'm coming for your job.
You know what? We still haven't made good on our promise to flip the script and have you both right, and I see what you did there.
I did one. I did one day that was magic because you didn't and I somehow did. It's like we had plotted that and I have no idea how that happened. But I haven't done it since because I know that you're still doing it. So one day you're going to drop the ball and then
it's going to be there.
Then we'll bring it. Yeah.
All right,
I just think you're
you always carry the ball.
Good at it.
You just drop it someday.
All these compliments are lovely and I appreciate you both so much. So let's talk about clay for a second. There's the kaolin clay, which is the China clay. There's ball clay, which is very plastic and fine-grained sedimentary clay. So it might have organic matter in it too. So we're talking like this might be poop clay.
Poop clay.
Yeah.
Then there's fire clay. This is a lower percentage of kind of debris and stuff than fluxes is what it is. It's not debris. Where's the thing? Now I got to look that up. Sorry. Just a second. So flux is a material with a low melting point compared to the other stuff. So fire clay has less fluxes, so low temperature stuff, but it's also kind of plasticky. So it's going to be stretchy, but it snaps at a certain point, right? I think that's our definition of how something's plastic versus elastic.
Okay.
I'm imagining sticky tech.
Yeah. Then there's stoneware clay, which is just for stoneware, and that's usually somewhere between fire clay and ball clay, but a finer grain, but it's also more heat resistant. Then there's common red clay, which is usually what we make bricks out of. So if you've ever had a brick, you made out of red clay. Isn't that fun?
And that explains why they're red.
Bentonite.
Yeah.
Which is very plastic clay.
What was
bentonite?
Yours? What did you make yours out of? Is yours bentonite?
I believe mine is just like probably some kind of weird knockoff clay because it's whatever the Crayola air dry clay is.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know what mine is.
I know it's non-toxic.
What kind of clay did you get, Kelly?
I don't know. It was a label. It was a brand I didn't recognize. It was just at the craft store. But it's also air dry clay.
Yeah, air dry clay. Very exciting. I've still got, I'm going to guess, 2.5 pounds of it. So.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to make a lot of stuff?
Yeah. I'm going to have to come up with other
Everyone's going to get clay stuff for Christmas. I'm just going to keep talking about.
That's a really good
Everyone's
idea.
getting baskets for Christmas this year. So.
So I just watched a video that featured bentonite very strongly, not in preparation for this, just as happenstance. I'll share it with you guys because it was interesting. It was debunking the idea that Victorian people ate mummies.
Oh,
this is a video by Abby Cox
on
YouTube.
That happened?
Yeah, a lot of
Oh, gross. Oh,
medicinally, and that is true to an extent. It wasn't like gnawing on their legs, which I guess is the image that some people have, like roasting mummies, I guess. But no, they would like pulverize mummified bones and consume them in like small quantities for like 1,000 ailments. This was back before science was science.
No, I mean this is no different from the rich guy that's like has a blood boy. Like we're in the same zone.
We're doing the exact same thing. But the funny thing about the mummy stuff is that that all happened from a mistranslation. One guy mistranslated something. Like Egyptians did use bentonite medicinally, and bentonite is used in mummifying.
Great.
And there was just a poor translation somewhere along the line, and now people ate mummies.
Do you guys remember when they discovered that sarcophagus juice, and then everybody on the internet wanted to drink it?
Drink it.
Why? Oh.
Just to see, just to find out.
One of my favorite memes was that someone took like panels from Frasier, where Niles is like, "What should we have to drink tonight?" And Frasier's like, He said, "Sarcophagus juice."
It looked gross. It looked real gross. I liked the memes where people photoshopped straws into it, like real long straws.
Oh, yeah. We literally like our recent meme history includes sarcophagus juice and the people 3D printing the vocal cords of the mummy so it can go.
Only two things have made me laugh that hard, and it is one, the mummy voice, which it was not even that long. It wasn't a long scream.
It was like, yeah. It was a desperate sigh trying to understand why this was happening to it. The end.
Oh, it was just so built up. We've recreated a mummy's voice. Did you? Did you?
Did you recreate anything, or are we just wasting money now?
So that and Smooth Yoda have both just fucking. Oh, 3. Oh, Potato Jesus. Do you remember the Jesus fresco that woman painted over? Oh God! Shout out to those 3 things.
That was such a peak time in the we didn't know it yet. It was peak late good internet. Where it was just like, we're all going to bond over the fact that a well-meaning Italian lady of significant age decided to fix a fresco and totally fucked it up. And we're all going to laugh. We're all going to chuckle at this circumstance. Yeah.
It was a gift, ultimately.
But yeah, so pottery, probably all the way back to 29,000 BC, happening on 5,000-year intervals across the world. Occasionally, they're large-breasted women. Sometimes they're vessels for water. They're always very stony and hard.
That's true. When you're right, you're
around
right.
People.
Okay, so when I was looking into this, it's some of the things that I read indicated that linen textiles predated stoneware or pottery by like a couple thousand years, which seemed insane to me. And like we've discussed, like so many things are lost to time. Probably these things occurred simultaneously. But when we were talking at the end of the last episode, I made a joke about how, I'll be doing something about fabric again.
Mm-hmm.
Ha 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 ha. No way. Stoneware obviously came first. No, no, I'm going to talk about fabric again. So, I mean, when you think about the two things happening, like which would you guess would happen first? I would guess pottery for the utility of it. Because even like I guess we did need to clone ourselves, clothe ourselves. But
warm.
I just figured,
blankets.
I know, I just figured we were doing pelts.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I figured we bought ourselves some time with pelts, but we needed cups. So I just figured that would come first. But no, I guess it was fairly contemporaneous. And there are, I mean, speaking of mummies again, perfectly preserved linen textiles discovered in Egyptian tombs, which is so cool. That's so cool. And early Egyptian linen garments were like mostly just big squares of fabric draped in interesting ways, including like pleats. They were pleating their fabric to get shapes. So in the illustrations of Cleopatra, where she's wearing the like fitted bodice, it's pleated into shape rather than being cut or sewn into shape, which is so cool.
That's
Yeah.
really,
That's
that's like
just so
infinite
interesting.
versatility too, right? You're like, hey, it takes us a
Yeah.
while to make this piece of fabric, and you will style it. We are not going
Yep.
to make limited use styles of fabric. Should we
Exactly.
go back there? Would that just be easier?
Yeah. So fortunately, there is a big movement right now in textiles, textile construction, and especially in fashion construction, garment construction, to move more toward natural fibers. And linen is a great one. So that's part of why it gained so much popularity ahead of even like wool, because it is, temperature regulating, which is why, like, do you guys interact with linen very much on a day-to-day basis? I do, interestingly.
I feel like I don't. I don't think I own any linen clothing. Because linen
Yeah.
is very different from just cotton, right?
Yeah.
And very different from any, like, the linens we have, I think, are probably more either cotton or some
Yeah.
synthetic-y sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Interestingly, not interestingly to anybody, I happen to interact with linen fairly frequently because I do so much crafting with sewing and knitting. And so I try to focus on using natural fibers, and also my sheets are linen. And they feel cool to the touch. Like, they don't feel like room temperature. They feel a few degrees cooler, which is great, especially in a place like Egypt where it's hot as shit.
Right.
Yep.
It means
So
they have
you wanna
ghosts
be
in them,
covered.
right? That's
They
how
have
that
ghosts
works.
in them.
There's ghosts
Yeah,
in linen.
For
What is
sure.
what?
Yep.
Can you explain what linen is for
Sure
me
can.
and also the 9 other people who are as dumb as me about this?
No, I was going to, because honestly, I only knew it as like yarn and thread. I didn't really know a ton about how it was made. But linen is a plant fiber, same as cotton, but the harvesting and spinning method is fairly different. So a big benefit of linen versus cotton is that the fibers that are that a linen plant yields are very, very long, which lends it a bunch of strength that cotton does not necessarily have.
Cool.
So a linen plant out in the wild is, or on a linen farm, is like it's long stalked, but the stalks are thin. And I didn't know this until I was reading about how it is farmed. There are like 3 essential parts to a stalk of linen. It's essentially a grass, and it blooms little blue flowers. They're very cute.
Aw.
Okay.
And I bet you could probably dye the fabric with those, but I don't know. I don't know about that. Hypothesis.
So is it like a
And
string
so-
cheese situation that you're
A little
riveting
bit.
down the fibers?
Yeah. Yes. So I was sort of thinking about it like all of the fibrous material when you're shucking an ear of corn. But the method to get to it is a little strange. So there's like this inner part, the corn cob
Great.
of linen
The linen
that you
cob?
have to the linen cob that you have to rot away so that the fibers come apart from it. And then outside of that, there is straw, which has to be broken and then pulled off of the fibers. So it's like, there are a couple different ways that they do this. One of them made me laugh. They just put a bunch of linen plant, which is called flax. It's not linen plant, flax, into a pond and just let the inner bit rot. But the problem with that is then the linen smells like shit. So that's not like a great way to do it. So, maybe they just leave it in the field and then dew settles on it and that bakes off. But that's enough to get that inner part to rot away. And I think that's called retting, retting, which I remember because it's like rotting.
Oh.
And I've got mnemonics in here,
Yeah.
baby.
It's not rotten. It's retting.
It's retin. And
Yeah.
then there is, I think the next step is heckling,
Great.
which is like basically just combing it to get the like outer part off. And so then you're left with these long strands of fiber that are spun, and that forms what's called a yarn. That's not like yarn that you would buy at the craft store, but that's like when you have a piece of thread, there are all of those plies in it. Each one of those is a yarn, and each one of those is spun. So, and then the part of why this has fallen out of favor and we don't see it as often in our sheets and in our clothing is because that's very labor intensive. It's much more labor intensive than cotton. Because cotton, you've got those machines that can just cut the cotton plants or do whatever they do. I guess I didn't look into how cotton is made.
Cotton gin, yeah.
Cotton gin comes later, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know. Eli Whitney invented it, though. I still remember that.
He did. He for sure did. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is the cotton gin. No, it's a columbine.
Oh, there you go.
Combine.
You
like combine. Boy.
That's a flower.
Yeah.
Debut buddy is for facts.
That's right. Yeah. Because the combine is the thing that like is like a big thresher machine that like gobbles up all the stuff, and then you can take the cotton out, and then you can put it in the cotton
and then
gin.
You put it in the gin.
Yeah.
And so you can't use the combine with linen, or you can, but it has to be adapted because you want to pull the linen up or the flax up by the roots, or cut it really, 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 really close to the roots. And the cotton thresher isn't as
it's just like a horrible gobbling monster of blade. Yeah. I was gonna say, because it sounds extremely intensive to like I was trying to wrap my head around the yield on like how much do you even get out of each individual stalk. It doesn't sound like that much if the middle part has to rot away, and then you're not dealing with the outer part either. There's like sweet meat in between the husk and the guts,
basically.
So you have to get that. Which, no wonder. Like, linen clothing always seems like it's expensive. It's all flowy, and then, like, you don't want to wash it because it just shrinks no matter what you do.
No. That's cotton you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Linen does shrink a little. Not as much as cotton does. But the great thing about linen is it gets softer and softer and softer the more you wash it.
That's lovely.
Yeah, it's so nice. And so the flip side, even though it is more labor intensive, it's so much better for the environment. It is so much better. Like cotton requires so much water and pesticides, whereas flax is pretty pest impervious.
So we're just gonna jump into capitalism real quick, but like we all grew up with the touch, the feel of cotton, and that being the fabric of our lives, right? But what you have explained just now is that both the touch and feel of flax / linen is superior.
Yeah, or at least it can be. You do have to have very finely spun linen.
Right, you can have coarser linen, I'm sure, but if you keep washing it, it'll get better, right?
It gets so much better. I knit a linen t-shirt, and the first time I wore it, I was like, oh no, this is made of straw. Fucking call me Rapunzel. Like this did not go well. But yeah, over the years it's gotten so soft and so drapey. And it is also, it just requires many fewer chemicals in the processing. Yeah. So in the construction of cotton, it's a lot of chemicals all along. Whereas linen is
because they're artificially softening the cotton with chemicals and stuff, right? Like that's part of the deal.
Probably. Yeah. So, but it is making more of a comeback, and in large part because of the environmental impact, but it is still expensive. Yeah. And so I usually use, in my sewing, like rayon or tinsel, which are plant fibers, but they're very synthetically processed. But yeah, it was so cool to see this like fine linens from 30,000 years ago that looked beautiful and like decorative. Some of them, they had like lace and like scallops, not as early as the ancient Egyptians, but a little later than that. By the Middle Ages, things were ornate. And it was so like, that's just so cool. I never thought about how far back it goes.
It's really interesting. I was looking at one of my later notes that I didn't get to, talks about how the early pottery from that 29,000 years ago was mostly used as weights on looms and things.
Oh.
So you would be using, they're called sherds, sherds, but they're basically shards of dried pottery, but they would just be used to weigh down the base of the individual strands on the loom.
This is so cool.
They're coming together. They're really coming together. I also wanted to ask you, so Kelly, you've got a lot of experience with linen. If we were to do like a blind feel test where you were presented with linen clothing and you mentioned rayon and tinsel, I think.
Yep.
Would you be comfortable calling that particular show flax or fiction?
Oh,
I would. Yes.
Great.
Yes, I absolutely would. In fact, I would be uncomfortable calling it anything else. So I was so worried you were going to ask me if I could identify the different ones.
I thought that was going to happen, yeah.
I do not know.
No, we just need a good gimmick for the show. It can be a new segment on this show, and you'll just touch a fabric and tell us what it is, which will be the most weird, completely surreal podcasting ever. So I'm touching this. Yep. I'm pretty sure it's fiction.
Course, this is a plain weave. Yeah, fiction for sure.
That's so interesting. Yeah. I would love to have linen clothing. Like I always, like having a good linen suit is sort of an aspiration at some point in my life. I have so few circumstances where I need a suit to begin with, let alone where it would be the summertime where I need a linen suit and one that I have to like really carefully not rumple all the time.
Oh, give that up with linen. You're going to be wrinkled.
Yeah. But the times that I've had any sort of linen thing, it is very light. It's just uniquely light and airy. And to your point, like it feels cool. Like you're covered but not covered. It's the ultimate in not nude technology.
Yeah, truly. Gotta highly recommend it for sheets, especially if you sleep hot like me. Oh, this is an ad for Brooklyn. Non-spa.
Email us, debutbuddies@gmail.com.
Yeah,
if you'd like
absolutely
to
would
finish
spawn.
the ad, Brooklyn.
All right, we've got time for baskets.
I want to know.
Baskets.
Let's talk baskets. I don't have a lot of information, but what I heard about baskets and them being old is that the use for pottery meant you had to be in one spot because you couldn't carry it with you. But baskets you could use to transport stuff and to carry it with you, but it was more for the nomadic lifestyle. And sometimes early pottery had baskets in the middle of it, and they would use it to form the pot.
Oh,
that's very smart. I should have done that with this.
That's so smart.
My pot would be a lot better if
made
I used
an entire
anything
basket
to
and
form
then put a pot.
I did think about it in retrospect. I should have just like put a coffee can in there and like formed it around that, and then I would have had a complete shape. And instead, no, I tried to do it by hand.
Yeah, that happens.
I used aluminum foil.
Oh, you did a great job.
I thought you used a real ghost. This is so disappointing.
Yeah.
But
don't
I left
meet
all
your
my
heroes.
ghosts in the house. I left all my ghosts in the house that I sold.
Not anymore. Yeah, and all my other feelings about baskets are more recent. I went to a craft fair, got a basket because you are supposed to bring your own bags. Did not know that. So bought a beautiful basket that was hand woven.
Basket makers must friggin' make bank at craft fairs.
It was not a cheap basket. That's for sure. And then I got a similar basket the next day at Goodwill. So I also bought that one. So now I'm just buying baskets left and right because this inspired me to buy baskets.
Basket collection.
There was one, I did watch a video, and have you guys ever read Braiding Sweetgrass?
No, but you've mentioned it before.
Yeah.
Share your anecdote because I think about it with knitting all the time.
Well, she in Braiding Sweetgrass, she goes and I feel like I'm gonna get the people wrong. Pigeon is the last name, but she goes to a class of I don't want his name may have been John Pigeon. But he teaches how to create baskets. And this stuck with me because you go out into the woods and you have to go ask the tree if it's willing to be a basket. And if it's like, and that's like half of it is like the tree has to be willing. And it has to feel right, and you have to like treat the tree well. And it talked about how like taking just like slivers off of it, you have to like remember you're taking years from the tree. You're taking life from the tree. And then like it just went through getting really frustrated on getting the small enough. And I can't even remember the names of like the strands that you get, but just how much goes into the thought and the care for it. And that entire book is great about how never take more than you need. And I was watching a bunch of videos on, because I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this was a kit. I didn't like magically understand how to make this.
Well, you executed it.
Yeah, you made the thing, which is what matters.
But they also have ones for like pine needles that you can do, and like you don't need to have a kit to do it. Cool. They kind of just go through all the items. And then I was like, you know what? I have a lot of pine needles. Maybe I can look at just figuring out how to make a basket. But the first video I watched, she even went in and she was like, only take what you need. And I was like, man, you never think about that, especially with like pine needles or like branches or anything that's fallen, because you're like, oh, that's not necessary anymore, but it's still part of the whole ecosystem. Like it still needs to decompose to allow for the ground to do what it needs to do. And maybe the coverage is needed for that, whatever to grow under it. Like
sweet little insects are making babies under there.
Yeah. So just like all the things. And basket weaving is beautiful. And the entire practice of conservation and understanding and only taking what you need was lovely. This is mostly beautiful. Paper. I think this is all paper.
Well, paper from tree.
Yeah, paper from tree. Yeah. I didn't go ask the tree, but I think that if and I really enjoyed making this, so I do recommend making a basket. But I think I'd want to do it. Yeah, the rim was bullshit. But I think if I were to do it again, I would want to do it and go out and get like pine needles and work towards making that instead.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think given that like trees have sort of been giving you a hard time this year, not necessarily by choice,
that's true.
But they've been making
themselves known is what gave them.
Right. But there's been like
the tree that is the worst. I went out and it's got like bullet holes in it. Like the old owner shot it, and I was like, well, no wonder you're not doing well. Like, no wonder you're breaking down on me all the time.
Don't shoot a tree. That's a real dick move. Like, yeah. I see what you did there. That was really good. That was really good.
Thank you. I didn't see until after I said it, and then I was like, oh.
It happened. It happens when you least suspect. And yeah, his name is John Pigeon in the book. I looked it up. You were correct.
Good, thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, I find that fascinating because it's so important to think about what you're taking and why and what it means, right? And like whether or not you believe that the trees care or can hear you or anything, there's having a level of reverence for the world around you to understand that like I'm not just here to manifest my destiny upon everything that I see. I'm actually supposed to like interact with it as if there is an offering before me and I should be grateful. And that's really stupendous.
Yeah. And I also totally believe that plants can detect that.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a recent example from my own life. So when I moved into my current apartment, I was like, my plants are not going to do well. The light in the house was so good, and it is not as good here, where there are going to be some casualties. So I was prepared for that. My plants are doing better than they have in years in significantly worse light.
They were dealing with ghost plants at the other place too.
Well, and I was just miserable at the house. Yeah. So I think it was more that I'm doing better here. And so the plants are as well. This bitch to my right, you can't see her, but I can. She's never looked this good.
Well, in the science is fascinating, right? Oh, look at that. Very good. Aw.
She's still like scraggly, but that's because she's recovering.
Yeah, she's got wabi sabi though. She's living her best life. She's getting it together. I love it. Yeah, I like the science behind the way we treat things too. I assume you both seen the studies of like how ice crystals form, and if you like just put negative words in front of water while it's freezing, it will freeze in a disjointed way as compared to presenting it with like positive stimulus. It will freeze uniformly. So like you'll get beautiful snowflakes out of good vibes going at the water that's freezing, and you'll get like jagged, monstrous nonsense if you put bad vibes at it. And I believe it's similar with the way plants grow. I mean, I know that, there's always the common thing of like, talk to your plants because it's good. And everybody's like, oh, it's just because you spew carbon dioxide at them. So of course, but they do care. Like I talk to my plants, I water them. I'm just like, hey, you're doing great. You're good. Whatever. I don't even know what kind of plant you are, but you're doing a great job. Like you're hanging out. Everybody likes that. It is meaningful.
Yeah, it's good for everybody. Talk to your plants.
Yeah.
Do we have any other craft thoughts before we jump into the MouthGarf report?
MouthGarf.
Just want to say, general love crafting.
Also, I also love crafts.
Yeah. Nate, hope you join us over in the craft realm.
Yeah, you're always welcome.
I'm trying to think.
You could make a basket.
I mean, obviously, we've talked before that I've darned my sweaters before. I do that. I sew buttons. A gateway drug. When I buy fitted hats that don't quite fit me, I sew little pins into the hat band. Yeah, so I'm doing that. And I've always loved making stuff like this. Like, it was really fun to make this pot. It did not turn out the way I wanted it to, but I have extremely high expectations of myself despite having zero experience making pots since I was probably 17 years old. I don't think we definitely made stuff when I was in high school, but
but that was 100 years
ago. I mean, so much has changed. I fell asleep.
Pot
woke
technology
up.
is so different.
Pots were invented.
But yeah, I love stuff. I love stuff like this. I mean, I do a lot of other home projects and work project things.
Well, and writing is a craft.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
sure,
absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, there's something that's really uniquely gratifying about doing a craft with your hands because it is very meditative. During the pandemic, during the lockdown and everything, I ended up ordering several assembly plastic models, mostly of science fiction spaceships, but because I wanted to do a thing that was small and focused, and then also spend the time painting, because there's something where you just you get out of everything else when you're doing an activity like this. The 2.5 hours I was making this pot was very freeing, because I wasn't checking any screens. I wasn't doing any of that stuff. I was just living in the moment with this thing, and disappointment, whatever. I at least was engaged in my sort of corporeal body instead of being fluttering all over the place with my brain in my head and everything else doing whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I know that the three of us and also many people in the world today are just brains in a jar all day, every day. So yeah, doing something with your body, making something with your hands is satisfying in a totally different way.
Yeah, it's life-changing. It's the same sort of just exercise is one thing you can do. Yeah. This is another thing you can do. And then, you do brain stuff all you want, but at least this is the problem can be solved by just keeping going. I mean, that is the really nice thing about clay, or, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can kind of do and then mistake and then undo and redo. And being in a position where you can do that, but it's not just delete, redo it, redo it, I don't know why that is, because there is something that's inherently dissatisfying about just the loop of constantly doing the same job over and over again, just because your workflow is that. Whereas this is I could just remake this pot over and over and over again. And I probably just could have continued smashing it into a ball and then reshaping it.
And redoing it, yeah.
Well, and it also starts to feel, especially with something like clay, I don't know that I experience this with sewing and knitting, because I make garments and there is a right answer.
You have
does it fit or does it not fit? But with stuff like this, it's collaborative with the object almost. Maybe you've got a goal in mind, but as you're doing it, you're oh, well, but maybe that looks cool, the way that turned out, so let me build on that. It's a different type of creativity.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know I don't get a lot, so that was fun.
No, it was totally fun. And yeah, I mean, I did ask the pot if it was happy with itself, and it seemed okay.
That's good.
It seemed generally
nice.
Okay. It did say kill me once, but it hasn't since.
But we all feel that way.
Yeah. I mean, that's just universal. That's just the state of being.
Did you see Mouse jump up here and try to bite me asking for dinner earlier?
Oh, yeah. Well, I saw you flinch, and then you sort of said ow,
And
and then
like,
you backed away, but you didn't say anything to
yeah.
follow up. So I was like, oh, well, we'll see what happens.
No, he was just sitting here eyeing me and biting if I got too close.
So,
what a jerk.
He's in charge now? Is that what it is? Is that what
He's
we're doing?
in charge. We're talking about Mouse?
Yeah, we're talking about Mouse.
Mouse. It's Mouse's world and we're just living in it.
Literally.
You know, I wish that Mouse took more responsibility for the world so that I didn't have to do anything. I'd be fine living in it.
I feel that way also.
I'd be totally happy with it.
It wasn't even dinner. He just came in, thought I had forgotten.
He was
trying to bite me.
It's time for the MouthGarf report.
The MouthGarf report. Open wide for some lasagna.
I hate Mondays.
Yay!
So, listeners, I'm currently flipping through. We received a Target Christmas/holiday toy catalog in the mail, and I am scouring it right now to see if there are any Garfs in there.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say we're coming up without any Garfs.
That's
unless
bullshit.
is there a Garf branded Nintendo game? Nope, there's not.
That's weird. I would have expected, because of the movie, that there would be something.
You would think at least a Garf, right?
Like T-shirts.
Maybe even multiple Garfs that would necessitate a rack.
Weird.
Yeah.
Do you think that Target was like, we hate Chris Pratt, so we're not going to do the brand deal?
I mean, good job.
It's a pretty Sonic heavy. It's a Sonic the Hedgehog heavy catalog, so maybe they had like a deal with them.
Oh,
but yeah, I mean, you know, Target's sometimes on Target, sometimes off Target.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah.
I have been watching some horror, so I'll continue that because we're recording still in spooky season, even though spooky season is long gone. Other than
every
maybe
season, spooky season.
Yeah, all the seasons are spooky now.
Yeah.
So I watched The Mist from 2006.
Okay.
The Thomas Jane The Mist, where it's pretty much the entire cast of The Walking Dead is also there because Frank Darabont was like the director or something. Interesting movie. Real bummer of an ending.
Oh, no spoilers.
No spoilers. But we're
20 years ago.
we're hanging out. We're hanging out in coastal New England, and a mist rolls in, and a bunch of people get trapped in a grocery store that's mostly glass, and then horrible CGI monsters start appearing. And boy, you can see the age on those CGI monsters, but it was still pretty interesting. It's kind of one of those cheat horror movies where they'll give you a scene introducing a connection to a character and then immediately kill them the next scene so that you feel cheated frequently out of something. And while it's effective, I feel like it's really cheap. That's just like a cheap move. Especially when
it's a Stephen King property, and
I mean,
I've made it clear
very much
how I
also
feel about
like
his writing.
Yeah, they're doing and we're doing like cheap sacrifices of like attractive young women characters, right? Which that's just a horror trope. So that movie exists. Maybe check it out if you want to be super bummed by the last 10 minutes.
Did you guys see that Flanagan's going to be doing the Carrie TV show?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's doing that and Dark Tower at the same time.
Man, he's doing
that is ambitious.
Much.
Yeah.
Dark Tower alone is ambitious.
If anybody can do them, though, Flanagan can.
He at least is going to he's going to nail the spirit of it.
Yeah.
Like, I think people are going to be pissed because it's not going to align with this.
People were pissed about
the
Fall of the House of Usher because it wasn't the story. And it's like, the story can't be 7 episodes of TV. The story is we walk in and people are old and the house is falling apart at the end.
There are just Edgar Allan Poe stands out here.
Yeah.
The internet,
These Poe stands. So I watched that.
I don't know if the internet was good.
I also, on the airplane on the way back from my work trip, I watched the 1982 film Poltergeist.
Oh, yeah.
Not for the first time.
No, but
No. Okay.
it was for the first time in a very long time because I definitely
Yeah.
remembered lots and did not remember lots. And
Oh.
I was like, oh, I mean, I really like how this movie holds up. Like
Oh, okay.
visually, it's got that classic, like, hey, we kind of did some combo of claymation and green screen, whatever we could do in the early 80s. Zella Rubenstein is great. This house is clean.
And classic.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Yeah, so great.
Go into the light, Carol Ann, etc.
Everybody's got like ooky ectoplasm goo on themselves when they pop out of places. So it's very birthy. It's very like all kinds of stuff. And yeah, and like I don't know, everybody's great in it. It's a real bummer that both Carol Ann and the older sister were killed shortly after the movie because that movie's a little cursed. Craig T. Nelson
Was
though,
Carol Ann
alive and well.
Killed? I thought she got sick. What happened to her?
The one of them was murdered by her like ex-boyfriend, the older
That
one.
sucks.
But I don't know what happened to the younger kid. But
I think she got like pneumonia.
they both died. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, great movie. It was a real blast. Terrible watch on an airplane because there's a lot of quiet talking and airplanes. I don't care what headphones
so
you have.
Yeah.
You can't hear a fucking thing.
No.
Yeah. Well, gosh, and in movies of that time, the dialogue is so quiet, but the like crashing sounds are so loud.
Yeah. I was constantly adjusting the volume on the seatback screen, which is its own lack of immersion problem. But look, I'm not blaming the movie Poltergeist. I'm not blaming anybody involved.
No, who was the airline?
United.
Oh, of course, flying out of Denver.
Sound and picture correctly. You would think you're an airline. You're getting rights to these things. Like, do an audio remix so that it works.
Yeah, come
where
on.
If the person's sitting behind the wing, they could hear the movie.
Yeah,
because it's always loud back there.
I'll do it.
Yeah,
I'll figure it out.
See, look, you have an offer, people. Debutbuddies@gmail.com. If you want to start this business up, Kelly will recut the audio on all your movies.
Oh, what did I see? I went to the movies. I saw something in the movies recently, and I was like, let me take a pass at that mix.
I also saw Halloween last week. So our monthly movie on tap here in Wilmington is a charitable thing. So money went to Special Olympics of Delaware, and they had 2 movies playing. So my options were either Halloween or the original Ghostbusters. And because I had seen Ghostbusters more recently, I was like, well, I'll go see Halloween on the big screen. Great movie. Wonderful looming. Not particularly scary, but, it's delightful watching Donald Pleasance be like, I'm the only one who knows this man is dangerous, and my solution is to stand near the house where he grew up all night long.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, but shouldn't you maybe... there's like screaming happening 3 doors down and across the street. Like maybe just go over there with your gun that you have. No,
don't worry about it.
Let the teens die. Sure, great, perfect. That's the Hippocratic Oath for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, hell of a movie. And yeah, otherwise, no cool Garfs have happened. I was hoping there would be a Garf in this Target catalog.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it's a real bummer. It really is. And the teeth are fine, although my wife had a root canal. She's fine also. But, root canals, not fun.
Yeah.
No, sounds bad.
Yeah.
Sounds like a bad time.
The girl I work with had a root canal today.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we didn't
How's
know.
she doing?
She got on a meeting and she was like, yeah, I decided to stay at home the rest of the day. And I was like, that's fair.
Yeah.
She was like, my face is
off.
puffy. And I was like, okay.
Ow.
Yeah.
Ouch. I'm coming up on my 6-month checkup.
Uh-oh.
Cleaning. No, it's going to go fine.
Oh, good.
I'm fine. Like, girl, I love to floss. Oh, one of our listeners' partner has gotten on the Cocoa Floss trend.
Nice.
Okay.
Which is just me. I'm calling it a trend.
Yeah. No,
I love Cocoa Floss.
It's blowing up. It's happening.
It's just
You're
so
making it happen.
Cocoa Floss is the new pottery, from what I've heard.
Yes, I have heard the same. I also learned that coconut oil is antibacterial, which is part of why it makes such a good floss.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a whole thing that you should just brush your teeth with coconut oil. That is certainly
Are
circulated.
you talking about oil pulling?
Yeah, oil
Yeah.
pulling.
Oh.
Just
But I hear, is
that?
that like snake oil?
Yes. No, it absolutely is.
Okay.
Don't do it. What I'm saying is
I almost
some
did
people
it,
will say
and
that
then
that's the
I
only thing you have to
kept
do.
looking
I
at
don't
stuff.
think that works. Like you still
No.
look, your teeth have surfaces, they got grooves, you got to like clean them out. Use something.
Yeah.
Don't just swish oil around. Don't just whatever. Don't use charcoal or all the other stuff that people say. Just, it's okay. You use some you can do other stuff. Use some toothpaste too. Why not?
Use toothpaste for sure. But
What order?
coconut oil coated floss. What order?
Yeah, because I heard today about the order in which you do teeth things. And I was like, I do not do it in that order. But I'm supposed to be doing it in that order.
Okay, see, I floss first.
Okay.
And then I brush. Is that correct?
Okay.
And that's it. End of list.
That's all? Okay.
I do floss, water pick, brush.
That's also correct. I used
good.
to do floss, brush, mouthwash.
Oh,
But it's-
wait. So where would mouthwash fit in?
Apparently it's floss,
Uh-huh. Floss.
mouthwash,
Yeah.
and then brush.
Mouthwash.
And then you're supposed to kind of like leave the toothpaste on your teeth.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah, like that's a whole thing.
Wait, but
So that the
Does that help
fluoride can
reverse?
absorb and things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I have heard
before
that.
or after brushing? After
brushing. So you brush,
Oh.
but you can. I think you
And then you
spit,
just
but
hang
you
out.
don't rinse.
Yeah, the goal. I
Mm-hmm.
think the goal is not to completely remove all the toothpaste from your
Yeah.
mouth at the end. You're just trying to get it so you're not like all gunky and gonna barf from
Yeah.
swallowing a bunch. But yeah, there was a period of time when I was getting I can't remember what
Cavities,
it's called.
little baby cavities.
Well, I
cavities,
mean,
yeah.
I just totally. That was a very long period of time. But I was buying whatever Colgate's like over the counter high fluoride treatment toothpaste thing is.
Ooh.
And I was doing that because I was trying to like fix my teeth after a decade of not going to the dentist, and I was just like, I gotta shore this up. And that was great, but that was very much the thing of like, you do this, and then you have to leave it on for like 2 minutes without any spitting, and then you still spit, and you're not supposed to do anything else afterwards. So you're getting like a super infusion of fluoride. It was great. It's a great time. Don't need to do it anymore.
Good to know.
The current dentist's like, hey,
You're good.
Your
Doing a good
teeth
job.
are hot. Did you remove them from other people and put them in your head because you're a weirdo? And I said, no,
Would
no,
not be
no.
shocked.
These are mine.
If my
Sure,
dentist
I'm
was
sure.
like, your teeth are hot.
I'd be like,
I'd
new dentist right now.
"Oh, new dentist. New dentist immediately.
Well, nobody wants to be called a buttermouth.
I don't know if
Yeah,
that's what
I
they
guess
were
that's
saying.
true.
No, I'm saying the opposite. Look,
Yeah.
look, the bit is that I'm gross. I'm sorry.
That's the
No,
okay.
Around teeth
That's a
especially,
bit?
but probably generally. Yeah.
Okay, here's another thing that I learned a couple years ago that I can't believe we haven't talked about on here before, or maybe we have because I forget what we talk about the minute we stop recording. So there's so much toothpaste on the market, but most of it is garbage. If it doesn't have the little the like dental
ADA
association
thing on it?
American if it doesn't have that shield, don't buy it.
Yeah.
So just PSA to our listeners.
I also can't use 95% of toothpaste, or they give me canker
Allergic.
sores.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
But I found toothpaste that works,
Boo.
and I haven't had canker sores for like years.
Hell yeah. But it's
Yeah.
got that shield on it.
I don't know, and now I'm gonna go look at it.
Uh-oh.
I think
Uh-oh.
so.
Don't. You
It's
found a solution for
reputable
yourself, and your dentist.
toothpaste.
Yeah, if it's fine.
Your dentist is
and
happy with your
nothing-
teeth.
Would
right?
there be an equate version of it if it weren't?
Yeah, probably not.
Yes, absolutely.
You
there
think?
would be.
Oh.
You think
Yeah.
Walmart's got knockoff toothpaste?
Oh no, they do have knockoff toothpaste. But would it be knockoff toothpaste to something with a shield?
Well, no, that
Is
yeah.
my
I mean,
question.
like, yeah. I meant
I don't think that the knockoff toothpaste would have the shield.
non-compliant
based
knockoff
on.
toothpaste.
Yeah.
But I think that if you get the knockoff of one with a shield, is probably close.
I think
enough.
it's the
Right?
same.
Yeah.
I would say it's
Basically, it's would 4 out of 5 dentists still recommend this or not?
Yeah,
As long
yeah.
as 3
We don't care
I'm
what the
okay.
one guy thinks because he's always that person's always got a problem.
He's a contrarian.
It's true. Yeah. I don't even think teeth are real.
How are you a dentist?
He's like Vank-
Why do I have to use a mirror to look at him?
he's like Venkman from Ghostbusters. He's like, yeah, I'll do this, but I also think this is all bullshit.
Yeah, you can use the coconut oil. Fine,
Yeah,
whatever.
sure, whatever. Put a whole coconut in your mouth. See if I care.
I rewatched Bly Manor after we
Yes,
talked
hell
about
yeah.
it.
Good.
Great stuff.
Still so good. Still
Yeah.
so good. Still recommend.
So good, so sad, so sweet.
So
Yeah.
sad.
In so many
So
ways.
sweet.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Beautiful.
No garfs though. I don't
No
have any
garfs.
garfs.
Okay, Chelsea, you said you had something
Yes,
important
I've
to
got
tell
some
us.
teeth news. So let's start with the good news. In 2 weeks, no nubbins.
Woo!
Okay.
I'm getting them nubbins removed and I'm getting my retainers.
For sure.
All
Yeah.
your lines will be visible from now on.
Yes. So I went to my dentist, and so there are always different people that take care of me. Strangely enough, never the same person. And this is important because I get called back, and the woman says, "So last time when I saw you, that was only like a couple of weeks ago, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." But then that was my response, because I was like, you did not see me. But I did not feel comfortable telling her because I have the opposite problem. I think we've talked about this. I reintroduce myself to people all the time because I never want them to feel bad for not remembering me. And then I was like, no, do I not remember this woman?
Yeah.
So then I was like, well, this doesn't seem right. This is fine. Okay. And then I was like, okay. And then she like goes and sits me down, and she was like, yeah, and your bite was this. And I was like, yeah. She was like, how's it feeling? I was like, all good. And then she starts talking to me more, and she's like, so how are the kids? And I was like,
Uh-oh.
Amazing.
Kids? When did I have them? She was like, oh,
Which
sorry.
kids?
Sorry. And then I was like, okay. She was like, I get everyone mixed up. And I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Okay, that's fine. And then she was like, oh yeah. And so how's work going? And I was like, oh, it's going fine. And then she like started talking about another company here. And then she was like, oh yeah, somebody I know works for the company, and they always have a really hard time, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I really do not have time or energy to correct her on any of these things. Yeah.
Yes.
And she's like one of the, and I don't think she might be a dental hygienist, but I don't know if they're like separate ones, that one deals with the orthodontic part and the other deals with teeth cleaning. But because it was Invisalign, I was with her. And then she started talking about like how, I don't know. I wasn't saying anything. I was saying nothing. And then she started talking about how she's upset about politics. And then I was like, oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
And then she started
Oh,
talking
no.
about how her 30-year-old son has a lot of passion, and she is upset, and she was like, and then people's families fall apart, and then I'm just like, Also, part of this conversation, there's hands in my mouth, so
Yeah.
the only thing that comes out is So I'm just sitting there, and she's just like, so like families just fall apart, and I just don't even know. And I was like, okay, yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to be like, yeah, tough. These things are tough. Everything's tough.
Right.
And then she started talking about, and then I had to be like, oh yeah. And then she was like, oh, you moved. She was like, you've been here your life, right? And I was like, well, I left for a couple of years, and then I came back, and she was like, oh yeah. And where was it? And I was like, keep asking me like,
Yeah.
I was like, Seattle.
We've
She was
never
like, yeah,
met.
I've never been there. And then
She
was
needs
like,
to
oh,
go
yeah.
to the John Edwards School of Cold Reading, because she's doing a terrible job of
I was
guessing
like,
where
well,
you're
we're
at.
getting there. And then she was like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to go, because she talked about living in the middle of the woods. She was very nice. But she also talked about being from Louisiana, and she's like, I'm from Southern Louisiana, and this is like how my life has been. And I was like, man, this is a lot of information. And it's two people who are on different pages, and she thinks I'm someone I'm not. And I don't know if she thinks I'm a person that she does know, or she just does this with everyone. Like, I'm wondering, like, there's probably like a 70% chance to ask about kids. Like, that would probably most of the time would have been like, oh yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
I just don't have anything to respond with to anything she was asking. And it was never like, do you have, is this, it would be like, so how are and then like everything just ended up being like an assumption. And then nope. No,
None of that.
no. But she was like, "Do you have any meetings or anything to do?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then she was like, "Man, I don't know how you do it. Life's got to be really tough." I was like, "I don't think you know. Literally, I haven't said anything more than a syllable."
She's not even listening to herself.
No.
She has like a script
She's
that
going.
she's just going
She's
through.
going.
Yeah.
No, totally. It's the art of small talk where there is no other person necessary. It's just like I'm doing this bit. And I'll probably hit 50% of the time, and my hands are in your mouth, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
So long as it's never silent, I don't really care about the content.
That's probably the thing, right? Is silence is when she only hears the sound of the lambs crying out, and she can't get over her past trauma.
Loved about all of the other people that I had gone to for my Invisalign. They didn't say shit to me. Loved them.
I love that.
Loved them.
Love that.
This woman was very nice. I don't have huge problems with her. I was just very confused. I did not know how to interact. And it's already hard enough to interact as is. But as it was happening, I thought of you guys. And I was like, man, this is a moment that I'm excited to share.
There is something, like, you should take some solace and maybe pat yourself on the back for the fact that you probably did something meaningful for her that day. Because a lot of times when people force a weird conversation on you that isn't going anywhere and is fake interested in you, it's usually because they're really lonely, right? Like, who knows? She's clearly dealing with her son's either really into Trump or really into, I don't know, Jill Stein, maybe? I don't know anybody who's...
I don't know.
He must be really into something. He's really into something.
And I couldn't
it's tearing the family apart.
And I didn't want to know. But the worst part, when am I getting my nubbins off, guys? When am I getting my nubbins off?
Yeah.
The 6th.
They said.
So you have to go in the day after and be like,
day after.
My
so
nubbins.
I will find out. She was like, I have an appointment on Monday. No, let's make it Wednesday. And I was like, why did you say that? I can't go Monday.
No.
I prefer Monday.
It's because you were so supportive and she's about to get in a big fight with her son.
Yeah.
She needs you.
Oh, man. Oh, you're going to have so much to talk about later.
It's just going to be me making noises while the nubbins coming off is going to be, it's going to be very loud.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I was hoping it wouldn't be her next time because I had a different person every time. I was glad it wasn't the person I had last time though, because that person added like the nubbin. They nubbined wrong. They nubbined wrong.
They nubbined wrong.
I have like extra nubbin goo on some of my teeth.
Oh no!
Yeah.
They sloppily nubbined.
I think that I think though the weird talking lady would reduce the nubbins adequately.
Okay.
So she's competent.
I think possibly.
She's just complicated. And that's okay. Yeah. That's how we are.
But that's exciting. In 2 weeks, I'll let you guys know how it goes. I don't know. Will we record crossed. In 2 weeks? Will we be upset? What's going to happen?
See.
I'm so scared.
Let's see how we feel.
In fairness, much like Bruce Banner, our secret is we're always upset. So
that's a good point.
That's true.
There's really no reason why we can't put on podcasts.
We'll also be upset anyway, no matter what happens.
Nothing's ever.
But my degree of upset could be higher.
It could be a pretty severe degree. Yeah. God, our listeners are like, oh my God.
Sorry. Well, this is also after it's happened, so they know.
Join the Patreon and you can find out what we actually mean.
Oh God.
The other MouthGarf report thing that I think we need to just revel in briefly is that we did have our first ever Debut Buddies union.
We did.
I can't believe we haven't talked about this yet.
It was a couple weeks ago.
I know.
So we all got together in person at a place that was cunningly called Eat, Food, and Drink.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was called?
A command that a restaurant might give you when coercing you into going there. And we had food. They didn't have drink. There was liquor license.
Notably not drink.
And question, is this a Colorado higher altitude thing? But are Belgian waffles supposed to be just dry and flaky and not a waffle?
That could be a great many things.
Okay.
I've definitely had good waffles at altitude. They're not impossible to make.
It's
not that hard.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that the food was fine.
Mm-hmm. It was probably all right.
Lowercase f fine. It was fine.
Fine.
Yeah.
It was food.
It was food. It certainly was.
Yeah.
But where
Confirmed food.
where
The bathroom had a sugar packet that was opened. That was interesting.
Yeah.
What was going on there?
You just you need a little extra to get through that bathroom. You're trying to poop and you're getting tired out, so you're just like, I gotta have a little sugar.
I gotta have sugar.
I gotta keep going.
But it was also laid there like somebody was snorting it.
Yeah, it was
like,
very weird.
Fuck my septum.
Which could also be the case. Maybe somebody was like, the liquor license is out. Fine, I'm snorting sugar this morning.
I gotta get fucked up somehow.
We got to hang out together, listeners. It was great. We're all real. And we all were around each other. And we even took pictures.
Oh, do we think one of us was
other?
AI?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought Nate was AI.
I still am. What you saw was just a robot,
hologram.
An avatar, yeah.
Is everybody surprised by each other's height? No, Nate and I already knew each other.
Yeah. No, Chelsea's made a point that she's short.
I'm very short.
She was as short as expected.
Yeah.
And Kelly and I are about the same height. So, boom, there you go.
Crushed it.
We did. We certainly did. Everybody was like, "Wow,
wait,
look at this handsome group at this table." They kept glaring at us. They kept trying to buy us drinks that they couldn't offer because there was no thing. The sun was definitely glaring at us a lot. It got so hot.
I ended up getting ill.
Yeah. You got a little ill. I definitely had like a brief, like not a sunburn, but kind of that in between thing where it's like, I should have had sunscreen on my neck and arm backs.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back to Colorado.
I totally didn't think about how like, at altitude, sitting in the sun is like it's a real choice.
You're in a broiler. Yeah. You're in the broiler.
Yeah. Did you guys find any more ghosts while you were there? While you were in your trip?
What did we told you about the one who was?
You were going to go back, and there was going to be more like ghost hunter sessions, I think.
Oh, I think we did that later. The fish? Did we tell you about fish?
Did we tell you about
I don't
fish?
think you did.
Okay, so
it's time for the fish report.
It's time for the fish report. So Chelsea and I were up at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park here in Colorado. The Stanley Hotel, you know it. You love it. It's the hotel that Stephen King based the Outlook Hotel in The Shining on after he had a spooky stay there, I guess. It is allegedly very haunted. There used to be a bunch of paranormal investigations hosted there. And then a few years ago, the hotel decided to end all of that very abruptly. And it seems like they are introducing it back in slowly. So Chelsea and I were there for a couple, not investigations, but paranormal presentations, which was very fun. Mm-hmm. I gave you that history because one of the most important paranormal investigation techniques was invented there by the resident paranormal investigators back in 2015, 2016.
And that was Stan Lee, the creator of Spider-Man?
That's correct. Yes,
Excelsior.
It was him. Yeah. You can see all of his signed
memorabilia
prints.
Oh.
Yeah. What would you call a comic? There's a name for it. Trades? Issues. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fine.
We did a whole episode about an Amazing Spider-Man that was...
I just told you I forget everything we talk about the minute we stop recording. So years ago, a couple of investigators invented what is now a critical piece of investigation technique for the whole field. And it is now called the Estes method because it was invented in Estes Park at the Stanley Hotel. And this method utilizes, I'm sorry, this is a lot of backstory, but you need to know this.
This is great.
To tell you the story.
I'm riveted.
So.
And the listeners riveted too. Like Levi's jeans.
Better be. Oh, I remember that. So this technique is it utilizes what is called a spirit box, which I'm sure everybody has seen on a ghost hunting TV show while they were staying in a hotel. And it is a little box that scans through radio stations, and you hear just snippets of words from the radio stations, but mostly a bunch of static. Now, playing it out loud and asking questions to whoever may be there is not super reliable, because if you are asking the questions and listening, then you can sort of put your hopes or expectations into what you think you are what you think you are hearing out of the spirit box. And so the Estes method still uses the spirit box, but it isolates the listener from the asker. So the person listening has noise isolating headphones on, so they can hear what is happening from the spirit box, but nobody else in the room can. They also wear a blindfold, so they can't see the reactions or the facial expressions or anything happening around them. So it's supposed to be like sensory deprivation for the person who is listening, so that they are only listening. And then the person asking the questions is only getting the answers that the person listening is relaying from the spirit box, which is just more scientifically, like, that's a better methodology, whether or not you believe it. And then we can talk about whatever.
No,
there are a lot of ideas
it totally makes sense,
about
right?
this.
You don't want to be influenced by the question being asked, because then, of course, you could confirm that question, whether you're trying to or not.
Exactly.
You're going to feel a little bit of a people pleaser would just be like, oh, yeah, I think they did say that, right? And you'll be listening for something you're not supposed to listen for. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same with like EVPs. When people play like, oh, here's a voice I captured, it says this. And it's like, no, don't tell me.
Yeah.
Let me listen to it. And then we can compare notes afterward. So all of that to say, Chelsea and I did an Estes session in Estes Park at the Stanley Hotel, where this method was invented. And I was the listener and Chelsea was the asker. And it seems as though we met a ghost who is a big fish fan.
Mm-hmm.
And he
That makes
weed.
a lot of sense.
smokes so much weed.
Yeah.
And he was just asking us to play tunes and making this weird robot noise. So then we also played some Beastie Boys for them.
Intergalactic planetary.
Exactly.
Yeah, perfect.
Exactly. But there were a couple like notably strange moments.
Yeah, especially at the end. And we had to leave to go to one of those shows. But there was like, we were like talking, and I kept asking like, do you like music? What do you like? And we talked fish. And then there was a point whenever they kept saying, we watch you sleep or something along those lines. And then it said, look up, and like, we're up here. And I was like, by the ceiling fan. It was like, yes, or something. But we were like, oh, okay. And then I think you said, she looks worried.
Yeah,
and then I was like, well, yeah.
They are saying they're in the ceiling.
I was like, that's fair. But then it sounded like somebody was like arguing to try to like be like, oh no, it's okay. It said we're not scary. And that was like one of the parts that says we're not. It just said no, we're not scary.
Yeah, it seemed like, as the person listening, it didn't feel malicious at all. There were just a couple weird phrases like, I can see you.
Yeah.
Well, and that would be unnerving whether someone was alive or not. If they were like, I can see you. And you're like,
yeah, exactly.
Don't say that to me under most circumstances.
Oh, gosh. I could talk for an hour about the Estes method. I'm fascinated.
We should probably do an episode about the first Estes method at some point.
We should.
We can talk about that. I've seen it now.
I could do it right now.
For now, I think that's the MouthGarf report.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Shall we play a game? Let's play a game! Let's see what I did there and what you are going to do with what I did and what we are going to do together related to what we do.
Will we?
There.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're off to a good start.
There's probably going to be a couple callbacks from things that I said earlier. I didn't flag them overtly, but you may remember. I will apologize in advance. This one is definitely stupid.
Oh, good.
The length of some of these clues.
Okay.
So,
oh no!
Apologies.
I'm not going to accept that yet.
It's been a minute since I wrote these, but I think they're fun. So we're going to start the first one by making the Simpsons reference that I haven't made all episode, I don't think.
Great.
It's time for I See What You Did There. Okay, number 1.
Nervous.
Otto, the marijuana-loving school bus driver on The Simpsons, shares his frustration at a mall-based pottery store named Stoner's Pot Palace by claiming the name is flagrant false this. And these are events where attendees are expected to join in accompaniment with a musical film or other song-driven media.
Sing along?
That's what I thought.
Sing along, you got that part. Absolutely. So flagrant false
so
what? If
starts with an F. Oh, false advertising?
great. Put them together.
Oh, yeah.
Advertise
Nice.
sing along. Yeah.
Yay.
Advertise sing along. You see what I did there? Well
Yeah,
done.
great job.
Phew.
It's a great visual joke.
Okay.
Otto
Feeling
walks out of a
better.
store called Stoner's Pot Palace. He looks back at the sign. He grumbles. He says, man.
Yeah.
It's funny, right?
Poor guy. That's a rough
But we
day.
talked about stoneware and earthenware.
Yeah.
And so it ties into the episode. It's amazing.
I do see what you did
You
there.
see? Okay, number 2. The artist Marcel Duchamp rotated this ceramic object, common to commercial buildings, event spaces, and restaurants, to create his satirical sculpture, The Fountain, under the name Armut. And, quote, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are considered to be this kind of right for all equal, quote, men, unquote, according to the Declaration of Independence.
Urinali. I don't know how to do.
You're doing it. You're doing it already.
here. You're inalienable.
You're
right.
inalienable.
nice.
Urinal.
You're inalienable. You see what I did there?
You're
Yes.
inalienable.
The fountain is just a urinal turned on its back, and those are inalienable rights.
Phew.
Ah, you see what I did there? This is going great.
Yeah, this is going
Look,
well.
you're
killing
Okay.
Okay.
Phew.
Number 3. Williams Sonoma owns this ceramics and farm-themed store that peddles overpriced rustic fashionable furnishings. And this cartoon short king blonde caveman spends most of his time bowling with Fred, despite having a very hot wife named Betty.
Pottery Barney.
No.
What's his
Barney.
last name?
Rubble.
Yes.
Thank you.
Pottery Barney Rubble. You see what I did there? That's right. What do you think?
Oh my god.
Ceramic and farm themed store that peddles overpriced rustic fashionable furnishings. That's kind of fun.
Great job.
Kind of a
Yeah.
fun
I was
one.
like, there are a handful of
It's
these
true.
that they
It's
own.
true. There are quite a few.
I don't really know which one it is.
You remember that Friends where Ross gets his apothecary table from Pottery
Oh,
Barn?
yes.
It's a whole
The
thing.
apothecary
Oh, do they
table.
roast him?
Well, no, everybody wants that apothecary table. And then Phoebe thinks that they have
Oh.
one because Rachel got it at like
Yeah.
Brooklyn.
And then she was like, you have to get it back.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Because she
Phoebe
said it
hates
was
Pottery
also,
Barn.
you can
Mm.
smell the
That tracks.
herbs that they used.
Yeah. Okay, number 4. This sometimes precious ceramic material is hard, white, translucent, and non-porous. And this classic duet features Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell declaring their love by proposing incredible geographic barriers and pledging to transcend them.
Wait, is it porcelain?
It is porcelain.
Porcelain's in the stream? That's not right.
Nope, Islands in the Stream is Dolly Parton and
Damn, okay.
Kenny Loggins.
Repeat the second one. Thank you.
This classic duet features Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell declaring their love by proposing incredible geographic barriers and then pledging to transcend them.
Porcelain ain't no mountain high enough.
Yeah. Porcelain ain't no mountain high enough.
There we go.
You see
Hey.
what I did there?
Took me a second.
I was like, I have nothing.
I mean, you get extra points for
on this one.
pulling Islands in the Stream, which is also a
Still
geographic-based
far off.
love song. Look, that is
I-
what they are. Nothing in between.
Yeah.
I was just like, I would walk 500 miles and I would walk.
I'll do a Proclaimers related answer at some point.
Okay, thanks. Can't wait.
Okay, there's only one more left. This is number 5. And you'll remember some of these things.
What?
Indigenous tribes, like the Anasazi, use this dried animal waste that sounds a bit like a sports bar appetizer for fuel in their pottery kilns. And this is engaging in behaviors typically regarded as racist and defending them as being performed ironically or satirically, such as wearing blackface or appropriating cultural dress.
What?
Exactly.
It's just racism. So ironic racism is just racism.
It's a specific kind because it's supposed to be ironic. You're performing it ironically or satirically, so it comes with a modifier.
So, it was the cow patty, but that's not what it's called, right? We're calling it
it comes from a American classic cow rather than imported cow. So what are American classic cows? They're not called cows. They're called something else.
Bovine.
I was vegetarian
with
for
six
like
of these, you can
years.
form a sentence with the same word.
Oh, buffalo.
Right. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Buffalo.
Okay.
And then that waste.
Poop.
It sounds
Buffalo.
like an appetizer at a sports bar.
Wing? That's not right.
Oh, chip. You called it
Yep,
chips
buffalo
earlier?
chip.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna have to really hold our hand through this entire.
Yeah,
Another
hold on.
another way of talking about this particular kind of ironic or satirical racism is that it would be the kind of racism that somebody's into that you've never heard of. Like they're so cool that they understand this kind of racism before anybody else does.
Oh, buffalo chipster racism?
You see what I did there?
Huh. Didn't know that was a
I
thing.
learned that too. Hipster racism apparently is when you're like, I'm doing blackface because I'm aware of what I'm doing, and so
Gross.
it's a commentary rather than
Still
a thing
bad.
that's wrong. Yeah. Interesting.
Still bad.
Okay, good.
Huh. Well, we learned something with
You
that.
did
I see
learn
what you did
something.
Love
there.
to learn.
Look at that. We learned all sorts of stuff.
We did so good on the first 4, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Well,
And
the
by
last
we, I
one
mean
becomes impossible
Kelly did
because
so good on the first 3.
yeah, like hipster racism is not a thing that I think is in our regular parlance.
I've
and that's
never.
fine. Yeah.
No, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad that
and
it
I
isn't.
hope that it never will be.
Yeah. Gross.
So now it's time to talk devs.
How many devs? How many devs? How many devs? How many devs?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's a lot of debs for me, dog.
All the devs. Tous les devs.
Yeah.
Every deb.
Yeah. 5 devs.
Friggin'
5 devs.
love crafts.
Crafts are amazing. Crafts are fun.
Mm-hmm.
The history of crafts is great. People have been crafting for so long because they were like, hey, you know
Got
what?
to.
We need to craft to survive. Also, it's fun to make
Yeah.
like statues of fertile ladies or whatever. Like we're doing stuff. We're paying homage to the gods with crafts. And here we are today, able to buy 5-pound buckets of air dry clay and make abominations. But it's still a craft.
Yeah.
It's still technically a craft.
Yeah.
No, and I just thought it was so cool that some of the earliest crafts weren't even about survival necessarily, not like functional survival. It was like spiritual survival, like expression and representing your culture. That's just neat to me.
Oh, it's great. I think my favorite thing that I learned this episode was Chelsea explaining that baskets existed basically because it was like, look, pots are like having a really nice sort of like chest, like a foot locker or a big like a treasure chest kind of thing. A basket is like a backpack that you can carry shit around in.
Yeah,
and it's
dude.
like, yeah, no shit. That totally makes sense. And baskets are fun.
Lighter.
Like, I don't know.
It's more durable.
I've never carried a basket. It's not a thing that people do anymore, but what an indelible image to have like a basket of flowers or a basket of Easter eggs. Like these are things.
Yeah. Little basket on your bicycle.
Oh yeah.
Always carrying things.
I also feel like baskets make the most sense as happening first. Like first of all of them.
Oh sure, yeah.
Just because like
Because it's stuff you could
Even
find
when-
around without a larger process. Like pottery requires fire
Yeah.
and knowing how long to bake your clay for.
Yeah.
yeah. And it's just like, I mean, even when we were kids on the playground,
You
you
could make one. Yeah.
pick with grass, you weave
Yeah.
grass.
Oh
like
yeah,
it
you
just
totally like
Our hands just do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you fiddle with stuff and then you realize like, oh, look, I've made like a braid out of these two blades of grass.
Yeah.
And it's like it's stronger than it was when there was just one. Amazing. Weird. What?
Yeah. So
Science.
cool. I love it. Craft. It's not science this time. It's craft.
Science just wants to be craft. Fuck you, science.
Yeah,
Get
science
outta
could
here.
never. Kick rock, science.
Touch craft.
Yeah. Yeah, 5 debs.
Yeah, 5 as well. I'm just glad that we got to do another make something. So thank you guys for going through that.
Yeah. Oh, we should.
I'm always gonna
come up
push a
with another
make
one.
something episode. I love make something episodes.
Yeah, let's do more make stuff episodes. Listeners, write in. What else can we make?
Seriously,
debutbuddies@gmail.com.
we could like do a painting thing. We could do.
We could.
I haven't painted
I
in a
will
long
just have
time, and that
Ryan
would
do
be a
it
lot
and
of
then put my
fun.
name on it.
Fair. Yeah. That's. I mean, you've got a ringer at home. That's.
I'm
that's
not gonna do it.
But yeah, this was great. It really is. I can't reiterate enough how nice it is to have a moment to just like immerse yourself in an activity that isn't connected to any
Yeah.
other stuff, and how liberating that is from the rest of adult life.
Yeah, everybody go do a craft. And if you need some air dry clay and you're in Colorado or Delaware,
Yeah, just stop on by because I've got at least 2.5 to 3 pounds that you can use right now.
yeah, I've got a fair amount.
Listeners, on our next episode, we are going to have a special guest, a returning guest. You might remember Julia from our first K-pop episode. She's coming back, and we're going to be talking about the first female elected official in the United States. And boy, howdy, it's going to be an episode. I don't want to say anything else because it could be anything. And we're here just doing surprises, right? It's about surprises. It's about surprises now. Hopefully, when this episode airs, there will be a second notable elected female official.
Stop, knock on
I'm
wood.
knocking. My desk is made of actual wood. It's great. I'm doing it.
So is mine. I'm not going to stop knocking.
We're all Heisenbergs over here.
Oh my God.
We are the one who knocks.
Manifest. Manifest
That's right.
good.
We'll manifest. So yeah, join us. Join us for that. We're going to talk about the great horrible history of American politics. Capitalism will come up. It's going to be a blast. We're going to have so much fun.
How did that come up?
It's weird, but it seems like every other episode. at least.
What? Every other episode, yeah.
By which I mean, it happens every 2 weeks.
We
so
talk
every
about it
episode.
before we record, after we stop, sometimes during.
No, yeah, listeners, behind the veil, like sometimes we will go through the entire episode and then realize after we've stopped recording that we have a bunch of stuff to say, and then we say it to each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So just know it's always there. It's just simmering beneath the surface, like the pink ooze beneath New York City and Ghostbusters too. We're hanging out. We're just here, thinking about capitalism. If you like this show, please review us. Go to iTunes. Go to your Apple Podcasts app. Give us 5 stars. Write something. Tell us about crafts you love. Talk to us about crafts. What's the thing that you've made that you're most proud of in your life?
Oh,
it doesn't have to be an incredible accomplishment
Yeah.
either. It can be as atrocious as my very heavy murder pot that will not do anything else other than hang out. It can be something like that. You could also maybe you're Michelangelo. Maybe you made David.
Oh shit.
Tell us in your review.
I'm trying to do a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles bit, but I don't know them enough to.
Leonardo?
You
made a helicopter?
Yeah.
You made a triangle
Yep.
helicopter that didn't work, but it's very
That's him.
clever.
That's good. Good
What's
thought.
Mona Lisa smiling about? Because I got my hand up her dress. Right? It's the devil's advocate.
Whoa.
Oh,
My Pacino.
Yeah, that was good. Al
It wasn't-
Pacino.
It wasn't.
No,
it
that was
got-
good.
It got too Christian Bale Batman at the end.
no, I was
Um,
I thought you were doing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and I got very confused. And I was like, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
remember that turtle.
I'm the
I was
bad
like, what is
turtle.
he doing? Oh, there was a bad turtle?
I mean, if you're a fish, all the turtles.
Yeah, one
are
of them
bad.
was a rude dude.
Yeah. Or a pizza. Imagine being a living pizza and there's just like Ninja Turtles everywhere. You'd be terrified.
Oh, shit.
Oh, you're here to protect the city, but you're going to eat me.
Well,
Yeah, you're not the city pizza.
My name's Paparoni. Leave me alone. if you like the music on the show, check out Michael J. O'Connor. Go to michaeljo'connor.bandcamp.com. Michael has been touring like crazy. He's got so many bands. There's the Daniel Stern. He's doing solo touring. He's in a couple of other groups. The man is on a tear, a prolific sonic explosion of creativity. We could liken it to an orgasm, perhaps, but we won't, because that would be kind of gross. We don't want to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll do. We covered that up well. Yep. Check that out. And if you want to read some very interesting books written by independent authors, published by an independent press, go to readspaceboy.com. We've got some really great stuff that's come out in the last quarter of 2024 and some amazing stuff coming in 2025.
And if you miss me and Chelsea in the off weeks of Debut Buddies, you can find us over on Never Show the Monster, where we will talk about scary movies.
So scary. Spooky scary.
Spooky scary.
It's one of my favorite podcast listeners, and I might be wrong about most things, but I'm not wrong about that.
No.
Thanks.
So we'll be back. We're going to talk first female elected official in the U.S. That's going to be something. And until then, I hope you voted. Shrug.
Oh,
Yeah, because it's after. Yeah.
It's too late, but I hope you did.
Yeah.
Yo-ha, buddies.
Oh, yeah, Yoha.
Yoha.
Oh wow, we're going out on that.
Saddest
I know.
Yoha.
I shouldn't have let it go out on such a
Yoha.
trip. Yo-ha.
Yoha. Or maybe Yoha. I don't know.
You're gonna have to tell us. We're from the past. You're from the future.
We're from the past.
Yeah.
You better help us like a real time cop.
First is best, or first is worst.